Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. The crypto markets have broken out and they are now retesting an over 300-day accumulation range. I firmly believe that this support is going to hold and we're going to see a big breakout coming very soon. And when this happens, there is going to be a ton of upside potential inside of the markets. Not only with Bitcoin, not only with the high caps, but all of the markets are about to perform a massive alt season, something that we haven't seen since all the way back in 2016 and 2017. Inside of this cycle, there's going to be a profitable narrative that was one of the most profitable narratives in the last cycle, and that is decentralized exchanges and launch pads. These narratives are going to be something that plays out in a big way going into this next bull run, and I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite picks that's super undervalued that I see going up significantly over the next few months. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. So to start off today's video, guys, everybody's freaking out about this sell-off, which is understandable. I mean, anytime Bitcoin pulls back, it's always a little bit scary. Everybody always freaks out a little bit. But what's interesting to me is how yesterday we closed with this bullish engulfing candle, and then today we got this bearish engulfing candle right after. So the market is just trying to figure out what way it's going. What we've been talking about for the last couple weeks has been the potential where we actually did pull back and retest this range of support. And that's an important level to retest because this takes us all the way back to our last bull market. And so when we're looking at this, I think that we could go as low as about 28.4 thousand. And so this is the way that I'm going to be watching Bitcoin from here. As we consolidate, if we're unable to actually hold support and we're breaking below 28.4, then at that point we're going to be looking for a bearish alternative. But until that happens, I think that this is going to see continuation to the upside. What we're seeing in the total market cap is nothing more than a breakout and a retest of a 300-day accumulation range. This is literally the bottom of our bear market. And as we're looking at this over the next couple of years, everybody's going to be wishing that they ultimately bought this retest, because now this is the point where it's most likely going to start marking up in a significant way. And that's why I say you're better off buying on these dips than you are selling, because up to this point we've continued to see upside, higher highs, higher lows. Now that we've broken from the range, there's really nothing that's telling us that this is bearish. The altcoins have done the exact same thing. The only difference is they're just below their August high, being this point here. But this looks a lot like what we saw in Bitcoin in its last cycle, right before we broke out and went to new all-time highs. Looks so much alike with what we're seeing today, where we rejected off of this resistance a million different times. Finally, we got the breakout to 12.5K, retested as support, and then that was where we went into new all-time highs into the last cycle. And that's what the altcoins are telling us at this level right here. See, this entire consolidation looks exactly like Bitcoin from COVID right here. Bitcoin started going back up again, and then once Bitcoin broke out at 12.5K and retested it, that was what set us in for that next leg up. And so I don't think that we're going all the way up here to new all-time highs. But I mean, for the altcoins to run clear up to this resistance, which would be the low end of these wicks, taking place all the way back here into the last cycle, I really think that that's an important level to watch. And so I don't expect it to go quite as high as Bitcoin, but up to this point, altcoins were the only ones that didn't break down and make a lower low. And so now that they're flipping this support, I am expecting a ton of money to come into these altcoins. I think that we're about to see a massive breakout very soon. And with that being said, let's talk about a new narrative that I see having some of the most profit potential as we get into this next cycle. Now, one of the most profitable narratives that we had, and one of the narratives that I actually made a ton of money off of, was launchpad projects, decentralized exchanges, incubators, and the ability to basically just kickstart different projects, right? And that's what they would do. They would take a portion of the tokens, they would provide a little bit of liquidity, they would provide marketing, they would do different things like that to help kickstart the project. They would launch it, oftentimes the tokens would do really well, and that would give them enough liquidity and enough money to ultimately sustain the projects long term. And through that, the ecosystem that launched these different altcoins ultimately performed the best. And so that's what I think is very important when we're talking about what narratives we can buy into this early part of the cycle. And one of those cryptos that I'm personally invested in that I think could actually capture some adoption as Arbitrum takes off is AlienFi. Now, this is built on Arbitrum, and I think that cryptos that are just native to Arbitrum are going to see a lot of adoption as the TVL is getting ready to break out and make new all-time highs. Now, obviously the price has gone down significantly, but at the end of the day, I believe that we are getting very close to the ending of this correction. and it's sitting at only $813,000 in total market cap. I mean, even if it just went to $8 million in total market cap, that's a 10x from here. So the upside potential with these is really high. And while the price is down significantly and we've been in this massive downtrend, you got to keep in mind that any new project that has low market cap is going to have to go through this phase. And what it actually reminds me a lot of, it actually reminds me a ton of Polkastarter. And this was actually the most profitable launchpad project that I ever bought in the last cycle. And through that, I made the most money off of it. Now, I didn't buy the bottom. I bought it right here at 4 cents. But through that, I was able to still make over 30x on the run up. And it reminds me a lot of where we're seeing in these Arbitrum altcoins. Now, keep in mind, guys, that what many altcoins are going to do at the low market cap when they first get added to exchanges, they'll make these listing pumps, and then they'll start these long sell-offs until eventually we hit some type of a bottom, and then we start the uptrend back up again. And oftentimes these things end up performing well because it ends up acting as an ecosystem for new projects. What I like about Alien is the fact that not only do they have these opportunities to be able to launch different projects, but they also have different farming opportunities that pay really high. And I'm currently deposited into this year-long one. I only deposited a third of my tokens, but it was over 900% when I did it, and I've already earned, basically a third of what I deposited. So I honestly think that this could be a really good bet if it ends up playing out, but you can also swap and provide liquidity just like any other DEX. So I do believe that there's a lot of potential here, especially with it being under $1 million in total market cap. These Arbitrum altcoins, the TVL is about to go into new all-time highs. When that happens, these things are about to explode in a big way. And I do believe that this is almost done with its correction. It looks so much to me just like Polkastarter, all the way back down at the bottom of its sell-off. The only difference is it's just at the very ending of it. And when we're looking at this, this is just a big ABC correction. The only difference here is we just haven't finished wave 5, right? And so we're working on wave 5 right now. This is wave 5 of 5, so I believe it's the last one. And we've either finished wave 3, we might see a bounce right here, and we might get one more drop, or we've already finished wave 3 and it was somewhere in this sell-off. I just can't see it because I'm not on a short enough time frame. But this is still what I'm watching out for on a big time frame basis. It's basically retraced the entirety of what it got listed as and the pump back up. Pretty much the same thing that happened to Polkastarter. And I didn't buy it at the very bottom, but if I would have made over 100x on that first move. And that had way more market cap than even Alien Fi does today. And so I genuinely think that with this being this Arbitrum altcoin, with Arbitrum setting up in this big way, this is going to be one of those that ends up taking off. And the upside potential is pretty high considering if we get it right at the market price, just up to our previous support is 160%. And if we were able to come all the way back up to wave B before this sell-off came in, because keep in mind, all this is a big A, B, C, right? And we're working on the very ending of wave C. So once that ends, you would actually expect that we would have a move back up to the range highs, being this move here at about $1.16, which would be over a 5x from where we're at today. And so that's what I say, guys. Honestly, these things are going to do really well. There's not too many native crypto projects just on Arbitrum. So with all this added liquidity, there's going to be a ton of money going around in these things. And so I think a lot of people are underestimating these. And with this one really having only a bear market, nobody's really talking about it. It's got a tiny market cap. They've only launched a couple projects, and there hasn't been really enough liquidity to get too much upside with any of those. So overall, we have to end up seeing this bottom pretty soon if we're going to continue to see it perform well. Honestly, when we're looking at these launchpad projects, a lot of them look pretty much the same. The ones that were at least added around some point of a bear market or a sell-off, those are going to be the ones that you see that end up making these long sell-offs. And so nobody's ever talking about them during this period when they're tiny market caps, when nobody is even invested into them. But that's the point when the best opportunity for upside potential actually comes in. And so that's why I say that even though this is in this type of a sell-off right here, and it has sold off massively, I believe that we're at the very ending stages of this, because this looks like a completed 5-wave impulse down. Looks like a completed ABC correction. Oftentimes they're going to end up completing that right around the bottom point at the very beginning, I should say, of where it initially added into the exchanges. And so what I see with this one is the potential for a lot of upside. And here's the thing, guys. At 815K market cap, even if it only goes to $1 million, you know, that's a 10x, and that wouldn't even be all-time highs, right? That would be basically our first lower high that we made in this sell-off. So I do believe that with these having a lot of upside potential, with Arbitrum taking off, now that Arbitrum has a token, now that the TVL's breaking all-time highs, we're pretty much at the very best point that we could possibly be before all of these markets start to take off. And I'm super excited for everybody here that's able to trade these altcoins, because we've been talking about a lot of different Arbitrum altcoins up to this point. A lot of them have already provided great gains, and, you know, this is only going to continue to take off from here. So as everybody's watching these markets, I think that the best thing that we can do is continue to focus on the fact that every single one of these cryptos, whether it was Polkastarter, whether it was Ferrum Networks, whatever they were, many of these went through a period where they were basically valueless, where nobody really thought they were going to do anything, and that was always the exact moment where they ended up doing something. This is the very beginning point of the bull run. Now that we've broken out of this range, everything is setting up for some short-term price discovery. I'm not saying into new all-time highs, but we're going to make a pretty big leg up in my opinion. And this is where we're going to see alt season, and this is really where we're going to see a lot of that money coming into these altcoins. And this is one that I think is going to be playing out in that way. You know, like I stated, guys, just to the wave B is a 5x. Just to the lower end of this resistance is a 1.5x. If it was me, I would be looking for a short-term move back up to wave B, or at least somewhere into the mid-range point, which would be anywhere from like a 2 to a 5x, give or take. And that's what I'm going to be watching for when we end up finding a true bottom. It could go slightly lower, but if Bitcoin ends up bottoming right here, and the whole market ends up bottoming here, then you're going to see the rest of these markets most likely do the same. And so don't be surprised if we end up doing so. And with this one being, you know, micro caps at this point, all it takes is one big buyer to come in, and a lot of these just instantly start breaking out. So I wanted to give you guys this one because I do think that this is a narrative to follow. I haven't seen any real launchpad projects starting in Arbitrum yet. This one is one of the few that I have seen, and this one does a little bit more than just that. It is a swap platform, and the farms are really nice. I mean, I've already earned a third of what I've staked, and that was just a few weeks ago. So, I mean, if you do want to check it out, I'll provide some links in the description for you guys to go ahead and do so. Do your own research, but this is one I've put a little bit of money in, and I do see some upside potential. So I did want to give you guys a micro cap opportunity that could potentially take off in a big way. So guys, if you did find value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. If you guys want to join the Discord server, download my free ebook. Links are in the description for that. Thank you all so much for the support. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.